Welcome to an illustration of creative facilitation with MAPS and PASS. Many individuals who receive care services are subject to imposed goals and discussions that often ignore their input or even presence. The highly visual, collaborative format of MAPS and PASS helps to re-examine, challenge, and improve upon long-standing traditions of planning. The focused person can feel much more empowered and supported to make meaningful, positive change when this process is prepared, carried out, and followed through properly. In this video, you will see excerpts of MAPS and PASS in action with individuals generous enough to share their experiences with us.
Meet Tom. Several years ago, Tom experienced a significant injury and is currently working with family, friends, service providers, and community members to re-explore his interests. Meet Natalie. She's a high school student seeking to be more independent in her school and personal life. Working with her parents, former teachers, and school personnel, she's using this PATH session to plan for the rest of high school and beyond. You will see how the individual circumstances of Tom and Natalie guided the choice of which of the futures planning tools to use in their person-centered planning.
A creative facilitation meeting can be an extremely powerful and positive experience for the focused person. However, there are important questions to consider when determining which of the tools are best suited for this person. Does the focused person have a clear idea of a dream or goal? Will the meeting be goal-focused or exploratory in nature? Does the person have a cohesive team? Will extra time be spent bringing team members up to speed on who this person really is? Determine which of the following tools is more appropriate, or come prepared to do either and review the overall process with the focused person in advance.
The creatively facilitated, person-centered planning process can be completely foreign to many individuals. Since the process is built upon realizing meaningful parts of dreams, it's important to ask that initial question, what is your dream? In informal meetings beforehand, asking the focused person specifically about their dream or guiding them through the basics of the map process, such as with the mini map pictured here, can be very useful in setting the meeting up for success and making sure that the people going in have appropriate expectations of what will be covered and how.
The map process is a very personal process to the individual. There's information that you collect during this that can be very intensive and personal for them to talk about, such as maybe traumatic events in their lives or things that's happened to them that's very happy that they want to pursue. So whenever you're going through this, at first the individual may be a little bit quiet and reclusive, so you'll have to draw them out a little bit. But whenever you're doing that, the history is a great way to segue in. A starting point for history can be the person's birthday. When were they born? Where were they born? Also, was there anything that happened as a small kid that interested them? Did they play baseball, t-ball? Did they have pets? Did they have a cat or a lizard? Those are things that can kind of get the person open up and comfortable with the process. I'm going to pause. When you find out this information with the history, you don't have to dwell on the things that are negative or the things that are personal that maybe hurt the individual, such as if they experience a traumatic event in their lives. Just note it and move on. That's okay. And then you're really going to move on to the dream. The dream is one of the core principles of this because it's really what the individual wants out of life. So, do they want to become a doctor someday? Do they want to become Batman? Do they want to get married and have kids? Or do they want to maybe build their own house or just live on the beach somewhere? These are things that really are meaningful to them. And it's important to never discourage their dreams. But instead, just really listen to what it means.
Meet Tessie. Tessie was a very supportive and enthusiastic member of a friend's map meeting and was so taken by the process that she requested to have one done for herself. You'll see that she takes a very active role in helping carry out the map, and that the rest of the team jumps in to help her with some support when getting to the dream section.
So, all right. So now we got some idea of kind of where Tessie's come from a little bit, some of the things she's done along the way. One of the things we really want to figure out is where you want to go. And so you know how this works a little bit already. But so here, just tell us what your dream is. What's the thing? If you could have anything, anything's possible in this part that we're talking about. And then we'll talk about how we can help get you.
Where I want to go?
Yeah.
Vacation?
Okay, where to?
Make it good, Kathy.
Anywhere in the world.
Yes.
Anywhere in the universe.
Where do you want to go? I'm thinking.
You can go
I'll come back to it.
You could go multiple places if you want.
I'll come back to it.
She'll come back to that part, the vacation. What else in life would you like to have or like to do? Is there anything else?
Anything else?
Anything at all.
Time, space, money aren't an issue. If you won the lottery, what would you do?
I mean, you know what some of our dreams are?
What?
Like, I dream about being a rock star and winning a Grammy, definitely.
My wish is
The food court.
food on TV.
On TV? Yeah, like okay, what was it? Yeah,
Like a cooking show or
A cooking show.
like having your own cooking show? Okay, that's awesome.
that's a really cool dream. So you want to be the host of the cooking show, or do you want to be on it competing?
On the
You want to be competing on it? Oh, that's really cool. What do you like to make?
cupcake.
Oh, like
Anything sweet.
so like cupcake wars?
Good cupcakes.
Well,
don't we, Cassie?
Cupcake wars.
Yeah, I watched that too.
Have you ever tasted them?
They're good. She's like, yeah, Christmas time, she's got the best recipes. Cookies every year.
Same for me.
What else do you dream about? Anything? Or do you dream about winning that show?
Yeah.
And what would you do with the winnings, with the money that you get from it? She said give it to her. That's a hard thing to do, to give away that money. Would you open your own cupcake place?
Yeah.
Cool, your own bakery?
Yeah.
You want to put that up there?
Yes. Yes.
And then you're going to move from the dream into the nightmare. The nightmare is the things that the person never wants in their life ever again. These could be simple things like, I never want a spider in the same room as me. I never want cottage cheese. Or I never want to lose my parents. These things can be very touchy for the person, and it can be a very emotional time when you're talking about them. But just simply write them down and move on from them. Acknowledge that these are things we're going to work to get away from, but we're not going to divvy into and try to work to overcome completely. And then you're going to move into who is the individual. And this is kind of the roles that they have and the traits that they have within themselves. So, are they a great mother? Are they a professional? Are they an artist? Are they a musician? These are things that they would identify with. And this can sometimes be hard for our clients because they sometimes are told who they are instead of really identifying that themselves. And then we move on to the strengths and gifts. The strengths and gifts are the traits that the person has and the strengths that they have that they bring to the table. So this can be something like they are a good listener, they are funny, they can draw great pictures. And a lot of times your strengths and your gifts and your who is will sometimes lap over because sometimes our strengths and our gifts are our roles. If you are a musician, then that probably means that you are great at playing music. And these two sections are very important because as you're developing interventions for the client or for the individual, you're going to want to tap into these strengths of who they are. If you know that they're great at making people laugh and they're really funny, then you may want to come up with interventions so they can begin to tell start a comedy hour at the group home or something like that, so they can be able to utilize their strength and improve their quality of life. The tools section are things that they're going to need in order to help them get closer to the dream and further away from the nightmare. So, if you know that they want to go on vacation in their dream, you're going to need money for that vacation, correct? Maybe you're going to need also some luggage and some bikinis or a pair of briefs for the beach. So you're going to need to put these things in here, because later on we're going to develop a plan on how we're going to obtain these items. So as you see in this one, we have definitely money. That's a common trend for some things that you need to dream. And we also need travel. Maybe you'll need to come up with some flight dates, and maybe you need to build up some PTO time if you're working in order to achieve that. So those kind of items would go into that toolbox for you. And then we move on to the action plan. The important thing to remember about the action plan is that you don't want to overwhelm the individual with too many goals during this. When you get too many goals, then they don't really know where to start. Or if they don't achieve one, then they feel like they're overwhelmed with the rest. So you want to start it out and get some pretty short-term goals that they can get within the next week or maybe 2 weeks. And then maybe some a little bit longer-term goals, so in the next maybe month or couple months. And then maybe 1 or 2 long-term goals over the next year. And this will help with the motivation. It's also important that during this process that people within the group are naturally volunteering to help this individual with this process. Alone they cannot do it, so they're going to need the support of their team members.
With the focus person, brainstorm, select, invite, and prepare potential team members. The team members should be approved by the focus person and understand that the meeting will be driven by the focus person's dreams and goals. The team will help figure out how to move towards these dreams in a positive and possible manner. Team members should have at least a broad understanding of what the process involves and towards what ends they are moving.
That's why I could have brought them. She knows how to tell them.
Andrew and Chucky, this is Roberta.
Oh, well, you see it.
They're from.
Are you sure where that stuff is?
Well, you've met Chucky. You've known since 1966.
Been a while.
When we moved there. Met your mom first.
As you can see, Tom has gathered a wide array of people to form the core of his MAP team, consisting of individuals who've known him all his life and known him more recently, through his community and through his current work situation. You'll notice the facilitators have arrived in advance with the templates for the map already prepared. This saves time and allows people to get an idea beforehand of what types of information they'll be filling in. It also provides an initial kind of cue to get people thinking.
Tom has an amazing family, amazing mother, the best advocate ever. And so if everybody can go around and say your name and if you work for an agency or if how you're affiliated with Tom or how you're related to him or how long you've known him, this kind of thing.
Once this is all completed, then everyone involved then comes up and they actually commit to the process of the map and actually following through with the action plan. And the great way that they do this is they actually sign the map itself. So that is a contract bonding with them, with that individual, that they're really going to commit to the process of helping the individual once again get closer to their dreams and further away from their nightmare.
After Tom's team have briefly introduced themselves and begun to settle in from their fun and engaging luncheon, the facilitators briefly review his history with past person-centered planning. They then open the floor to him to begin articulating his dream vision that the map will be working to help realize.
Tom, I don't remember, do you, Tom?
Not for sure. But I'm still attempting to try to endeavor to get more independent.
I think Amanda Gunn may have done that one.
Okay. And we'll sort of show this for the camera. Tom's former past. And I was just trying to find there was a date on here.
Probably not.
It's April 24th, but it doesn't say the year.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So,
I think you did on that.
I'll put this over here for now. But so a map is a way to help somebody realize their dreams. And so it's a really useful tool of figuring out what you want for the future and how to get there. That's the name of the map. It also stands for making action plans. This is the most important part, is the dream. And the dream's limitless. And I'm going to remind you that then, too. And then we get to the nightmare. And the nightmare are things that you never want to have in your life, your fears. That's something, too, that we might want to go back and add to the history. Is that you've made incredible, significant progress in the, 28 years post-injury? That
It's a long time.
to be in a coma for 3 months and be where you are today, that's amazing. You're very resilient.
When you look at it that way, Tom, you've come a long way.
Exactly.
So is there anything else for the dream?
Tom, you've always liked your math, but
Yeah.
now you have trouble applying.
Right.
You know it, but you can't see your forgetfulness and all
Right.
that. You have trouble applying. Your knowledge, I should mean, that's what I'm trying to say.
And it's because of my forgetfulness and my disgraceful it's so high in my life.
But I think he deserves a lot of recognition from, like you said, from the seriousness of his injury. He also took a college class in math and made a C in it, which a lot of the other students in there would have been thrilled to make, and they had not had a head injury.
Aunt Don May was a pretty good coach, wasn't she?
She was. So was her husband, Jim.
Yeah.
Jim.
So would that be something that you would be interested in too, Tom, is going back to school?
Some type of class.
Maybe.
Even the tech centers offer different things that he could take.
That's true too. That's
Yeah.
Where is it?
Technical centers locally.
Oh, technical center.
There's one in Gore, and I think, is there one in Taylor County too?
I'm sure there is, but I
I
don't know where
I
it
don't
is.
know either.
I'm not sure. I think they go
No,
Harrison
no.
County. They go Harrison County.
It's
Okay.
Taylor and
Yeah.
Doddridge County all go to Harrison County for.
Oh, they have just one for all
Yeah.
three counties?
There's that Pierpont in Fairmont.
Yes.
They have a lot of
Isn't that
stuff.
one?
Yes, or
Right.
Pierpont and Clark. Yeah, the Pierpont.
And Josh, did you go to Pierpont and Paramount?
Yeah.
What
You
would,
guys are pretty well known.
what classes would you be interested in? What topics?
Having that to do with the offer before I give you a final decision on it.
What's that?
I hadn't probably thought about that.
I said I have to see what the offer is before I give you the final decision on it.
Okay.
See what's available, yeah.
Okay. And this is the most important section too, so if you think of anything else later that we didn't cover, please feel free to be like, oh yeah, Tom, did you want to do this in the future? And then we can always add it in. But just to recap, what we have is we're going to have a golden lottery ticket and be a millionaire, have a beautiful girlfriend who then becomes your wife with 1 to 2 children. You'll be more independent, and with that you want to have an all-wheel drive vehicle and your driver's license back and everything to have that driver's license back. And then you want to have a job that pays well, that you enjoy, and then maybe in engineering, just looking into what you want to have. You want to increase happiness, going back to camping and adventures, doing those kind of things. Having a steady paycheck with your job too, developing new friendships, and then going out with those friends more often, new adventures and interests, and then the concerts and events, and the block party and other events, and I think we covered it all. Is that it? I think that sort of summed it all up, right?
Of course, you know you said 8 times in 20 minutes.
I know, I'm always So now we'll move on to the nightmare. So these are things that you never want to have in your life. These are things that you want to avoid for your future.
Correct.
That chair's killing me.
So what would you like to avoid in the future?
Another accident.
They don't like being told what to do.
No, that's a good one. Being told what to do.
I think that's along with being independent.
Yeah.
So finally we get to the plan of action. That's what this whole process is building up to. So you're going to come up with some distinct things where you're going to work closer to the dream and further away from the nightmare. Well, I know that you've heard the dreams, and sometimes you hear people's dreams and they think, wow, how can I ever help them get closer to that? Such as, I would love to be Batman. How could you ever help me become Batman? So first you have to really think about it and say, okay, well, is there a portion of this dream? And what is it about that dream that we could help them get closer to? And it's those tiny steps that you start taking. And once you start taking those steps, it really starts helping them get closer and closer and closer to that dream and further fulfilling their desires to be with whatever it was. So, to give you a great example of how you can take a very large dream that one may say, oh, I'm not sure if that's possible, and really break it down into possible and achievable goals. So, and here you see that this person's dream is to record an album. And I know a lot about this individual and know that also they want to win a Grammy someday. That's a very large goal, isn't it? But are there distinct things that you can do to break down the steps of reaching that goal that are obtainable, such as, could they start off by writing a song? Could we look at the resources available within the community around them and maybe people that we know or people that they know that can help support them in that? And you can. And that's the things that you'll have in that toolbox. They're going to need those supports. So you begin to identify those. So you would start off by saying, goal number 1, within the next week, we will be identifying one individual that can help collaborate on a song together. One person to maybe do the lyrics and then this client to do the music. So that's one step that you can do. That is a possible and achievable goal for you. That really connects to the dream. And then you can begin to venture out from that and say, over the next month, we will gather 3 different songs for them. And they will begin to play those songs live, maybe at a local venue. That's an achievable and reachable dream that's going to get them closer to the experience that they would have of winning a Grammy, possibly. And then we're going to break it down and maybe say over the next 6 months, we're going to have at least 10 songs written and collaborated with so-and-so in order to begin to record our album. Now you're going to have to be creative sometimes. Maybe you don't have a local recording studio in your local town or even in the state that you're aware of. Or you don't have the finances to reach that. But are there things that you can do? Could you start to record things on YouTube? Could you start to record things in a very small studio that you can set up in the home with some very basic equipment that you possibly could pick up at the Goodwill or you could find somewhere like that? So there's always things that you can do, just sometimes you have to think very creatively and really think outside the box in order to come up with those solutions.
Tom's completed map is a valuable and prominent document of the day's proceedings and his team's commitment to helping him with his future goals. Oftentimes this will end up prominently displayed in one's home or office, where it can serve as a constant reminder of the numerous ways in which they are looking to change their future. The facilitators will oftentimes take a picture of this map and keep it for their records and check in periodically with the assigned coaches to see what kind of progress is being made, or if the individual is ready for additional goal exploration at a later date.
This map really helps give you the clear understanding of the dream to help build onto that process. Without understanding the dream further, you're not going to be able to break it down into the steps you need to take over the next week to 6 months or a year. But in the map, you can begin to identify at least a starting point that the path can build from.
Natalie is a 15-year-old high school student who had a map conducted about a year before the meeting you see pictured here. It involved many, but not all, of the individuals at this meeting. After Natalie had experienced a number of successes, and upon returning to public school, she wanted to revisit some of the goals explored in her map, but in greater depth and with particular timelines established.
About a year ago, is that correct? And so the PATH is another extension of a futures planning tool that we can use. And so a PATH sort of takes the dreams like the map does, and where the map creates that plan of action, a PATH goes into more detail about that plan of action. And Natalie, you're such a great candidate for that because you know more so what you want and your dreams. And so that's really great. And in that way we can sort of build upon that. We're going to time travel today, or pretend to, with the PATH to sort of reach into the future and see what your life will be like in the future. So it does get a little weird as far as the steps. So first what we'll do is we'll outline your dream, and that's anything and everything. Anything in the world. If you could live forever, if you had endless time, space, and money, what your dreams would be. And then we take it to the positive and possible. So we would look at your dreams and then see what could realistically happen in, say, a year and a half from now. And we'll set that date out here for those things to happen. And these will be specific goals for you to reach in that time frame. So then we'll time travel back over to November of 2015 for the now. Because this will probably be, 2016, maybe early 2017. Yeah, we'll go back to now. And see where you're at right now in life. And then we'll build on that and go to who to enroll, what kind of organizations, people do you want to help you on your path. And then we'll move to how to get stronger in some of these areas, how to build upon the strengths that you already have. And then we sort of hop back over to the future. So we hop back over into 2017, and then we move back in time, and we say, okay, well, what will it look like summer 2016 to reach these goals? What will it look like, December, January to reach these goals? And what can we do next week? And in that way, it gives us more of a step-by-step guideline on some of the action plans to reach your dreams.
And thank you again, everyone, for being here. Yeah, I don't know if I had introduced myself prior, but I'm Nick Larson, Positive Behavior Support, and Anastasia Riley. And you're all here because Natalie has identified all of you as vital players in helping her get to her future goals. And she has a variety of them, and so you're all going to have a great and unique input on some of those things that Anastasia was talking about, how to help her build and get the necessary resources towards moving in the direction of those things this next year. So thanks again for being present.
So we could start with your dreams, Natalie. And so Natalie, what are some things that you want for your future? And this doesn't have to just be a year and a half out. This is any time. What do you want? Anything and everything. Your dreams are limitless.
I want to go into science.
Science?
Animal science.
Okay. So what will that look like? Will it look like getting a PhD in science? Will it look like becoming a scientist? And what kind of things do you want to do with science?
Probably be a scientist.
Okay, cool.
I'm
really
off to a
good.
good start.
That's right. Okay, awesome. So science. What are some other things that you see for your future? Or anybody else may see for Natalie's future, and then always ask you, Natalie, if you agree or disagree with anything that anybody else suggests. But if anybody else is, oh yeah, Natalie, you remember you told me this last year that you wanted to do this, or anything like that, because
Still want to own a truck.
is that okay if I put up here? Okay, so and then a truck.
What kind of truck, Natalie? Like a crew cab,
A dually, you know, the 4 wheels and back.
4 wheels and back.
Okay.
You gonna tell me you want it lifted up?
I have to say a little.
It's too hard to load stuff when the truck's too high, you know.
Three-dimensional here.
Do you want to be able to haul your animals in the truck, or?
And you need a trailer.
Do you still want to live on the farm?
Huh?
Yes.
Okay. Live on the family farm? Now, are you still gonna show animals? It's a really good goat.
It was actually a cow.
Oh, a cow. I see it now.
Now remind me, Natalie, what are all the different animals that you take around and that you show?
Sheep.
Is there anything that you want to do as far as an expansion with the animals, or 4-H or any of that?
Do you want to judge still?
Not really.
Not really. It's something you're really good at. She's really good at it.
Remember, it's anything and everything in the world. Like time, space, and money aren't an issue. Anything for your dreams.
You want to go to college? Want to be assigned? Or you want to go to college? Maybe.
Maybe.
Do you want to be married?
Should we put Stace and go up here, or do you want to play it by ear when the time comes?
Do you want to get your driver's license? That's our
Yes.
future.
Gonna have to if you own that truck.
Yeah. Drive it. So your driver's license. And how old are you now, Natalie?
16.
Oh, okay.
She did very well parallel parking today.
What I heard.
I heard.
Oh, nice. So you're in driver's ed. And I didn't quite catch. Did you want to go to college, or what college in particular? Were you looking at any in particular?
I don't know where yet.
Do you want to go somewhere?
Do you want to stay like in state, out of state?
Probably instead.
I think she's a little confused on the college thing. I mean, not that she doesn't want to go, she's just, she needs to go. she doesn't want to leave home, so she's going to do it online, all of it. Is that what you told me? Which I think she might have to go someplace to do that.
Would you want to go to someplace very close, like Fairmont or WU, where you could drive to classes? If you can't, I mean, because you probably could do a majority online, but like, if you couldn't do some online, if you wanted to do that. Or Glenville's sort of close too, isn't it?
She can start off right here.
Yeah.
You know, college classes right here in the building.
Oh, cool.
So if she wanted to try it and see it, she could start right here and then go on to Fairmont or someplace else.
And that's only in the evening, or they have it during the day?
Right. Well, they can take a couple classes, seniors, dual credit, right?
Oh.
So she could start while she's a senior. And then take classes in the evening right here.
Would you be interested in that, Natalie? Okay. Getting a jump on that would be nice.
The classes, do the teachers right here teach the college classes?
Some of them do.
Is there anything else that you see for your dreams, Natalie?
Marshall's program as well.
Would you be interested in going to Marshall?
They have a support program for people with autism, students with autism.
They have a great program.
Yeah. Went through the whole process with someone and very impressed.
Well, Natalie, if you think of anything else as we're going along, please let us know, okay? So I want to double check that we have everything, and that way if you guys think of anything else while we're going along here, please just let me know and we can add it all in. So we'll go into science, be a scientist, and get your truck and your driver's license to drive it. What color do you want your truck to be?
Black.
Black. Cool.
So it's dirt.
Are you gonna mud it?
Is that a yes?
Yeah, that was a yes. I love how you're a true West Virginia girl. You want to stay on the family farm? Yeah. And you still want to show your animals? And maybe go to college. You're still sort of filling that out, though, right? But you are interested in doing the college classes, maybe your senior year of high school? Okay. Is there anything else we want to add? Okay. So we'll move on to the positive and possible. So we'll take these things, and these are very, very realistic dreams. Very realistic. Because, like I said, with the dreams, anything and everything. For example, you could be a mermaid, or you could be an astronaut, or anything. Yeah, all these are very realistic. So we're gonna take this and put it into goals, and it's gonna be very easy to do yours as goals because they are so very realistic. So it sounds like, is the science the main dream focus out of this? Okay. Is there anything else? Okay, now we're going to time travel back into 2015. So we're back. So now we're back to the now. So these are things that are going on now in your life. And we can also put out here on the side some adjectives about how you feel right now. So if you're excited, if you're anxious, if you're, whatever it is, some of those kind of feelings we can put out to the side. And then in here too, we'll want to put some things about some things that are going on in your life right now, like you're a sophomore, right? Sophomore, you're getting good grades, is that correct? So that might be something to add. Sophomore, getting good grades. Do you like school?
Most of the time.
That's awesome.
I think like first language she had a like 3.8.
Are you having fewer behavior problems?
That's a question for you.
We talk every day, but most of them were pretty good times.
So there's more good news than.
Yeah. More smiley faces on our sign sheet than when we started.
We had a bad day Monday, or bad part of the day Monday.
Two classes. Who's usually the instigator of that bad day?
Not her. Oh, she didn't say it.
And what would you say that the main thing is that you could do to fix that? You got with it? What's going on? Before it happened? Like something made you mad and it's not even related to what happened?
I don't know what Mr. Smith said that time. She just needs to talk to me. If she'd come and talk to me, we'd be able to work things out.
It wouldn't have been a problem.
Is that something that we want to add then to a goal, is to speak up about your feelings? Okay.
That's a good one.
Okay. We'll time travel real back real quick. We're going to add that to the goals then. Maybe that feel comfortable speaking up.
Good thing there's no lipstick on there.
You want some other?
Well, so now, would you say that you have some anxiety about speaking up or speaking your mind sometimes, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, Christy and she speaks her mind sometimes to us pretty freely.
That might be something we'll want to explore in the strength section, as far as what makes you feel more comfortable whenever you do speak up. During the process, a coach will be assigned to follow up with the focus person and team to make sure that the action plan is carried out. As the facilitator, you will want to follow up with the coach to make sure there are no questions or barriers that they need help overcoming. Remember, the focus person is central to this process and should always be at the center of everything that you do. Have fun and enjoy the process.